All right, this seems like perfect weather, Maria, to curl up with a good book. What to read, though? There's so many good books, so little time. Zibby Owens to the rescue. Owens is an author and mother of 4. She hosts an award-winning podcast called Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. That is especially true during these trying times. Fortunately for us, Zibby sifts through all of the best titles to find the perfect little gems. Zibby, welcome to the show. Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for having me.
I love a person who loves a good book. So you and I, girl, are on the same page. And what you've done is a great job. You've cultivated like this nice little list for us of things that people might want to read right now, because we're kind of in this special place right now, aren't we?
Yes, a very unique place, and I couldn't agree more that curling up with a good book can solve most problems in life. So, Michaela, you and I should talk books some other time.
All right.
I could talk about this all day.
I could talk all day about it. I read for my moods. I read for, what I need. And you found a great one. Let's start with this. Read this for inspiration. So perfectly titled.
Perfectly titled, Read This by Inspiration by Ashley Perez, is full of advice, motivations, beautiful illustrations. The sad part is that Ashley's father just passed away from COVID on December 31st after I interviewed her for my podcast. Oh. So this book takes on a new meaning, one of the many victims, but it's still beautiful, inspiring, and something to remember that life can always get better.
And it's in this like manageable format too, which I really like. You might know her name, by the way, from BuzzFeed. She has been really doing some great things there. Okay, the next one, I think, Araxia, some of our parents might want to know about this book.
Yes, this book should be on everyone's nightstand. Parenting While Working from Home, co-authored by Sherry Medini. Not only does this have amazing tips and tricks, but it sorts everything by month, because as any parent knows, the demands on a parent in, say, July are super different than, say, the December rush of all the gifts and everything else. So it sorts it by month, and each month gives you a list to do, a place to record your thoughts and feelings, and a guidebook to getting through this time where we are almost all working from home.
I like that it's a bit of a workbook. It has that component to it. It gives mom or dad their own little homework they can do while the kids are busy distance learning.
Yeah, we need more to do, right? We need more to do these days. We don't have enough on our plates.
Yeah. We need an activity, Ziggy. Oh my goodness. Okay, next one I think is great because it's a book that parents will love for their 6 to 9-year-olds.
Yes. So Chelsea Clinton started the series She Persisted, which is a picture book series. She's actually on my podcast today, Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books, as was Andrea Davis Pinkney, who is an author in her own right. Now they've teamed up to do a middle grade version of Chelsea's children's book series about Harriet Tubman, and it's perfect for kids. Great pictures, still big words, and I'm going to try to force my kids to read this later today. So definitely add this to the list for the new year for your kids.
Well, we have this great teaching moment that's happening nationally with our first female vice president. This seems like a nice extension of that for kids, right? A great teaching
100%,
instrument.
yes.
All right, next up, I feel like maybe you have been talking to my producers about this book and me. It's called The Book of Moods.
That's how I felt when the publicist pitched me this book.
Okay, good. I feel like there's fingers pointing right at me. This is so funny.
Yeah, I was like, I hope my husband didn't request this book be delivered on my doorstep. But yes, The Book of Moods, how I turned my worst emotions into my best life. Lauren is just totally honest about the fact that she has all these moods and they get in her way, and she's always sabotaging herself, and what should she do about it? And she decided to do something, which is write this book and tackle the problem. And it's really a memoir. It's beautifully written. It's thought-provoking, but also gives you advice you can take away, which that's a lot of the combinations of a great book right there.
Do you feel like you saw yourself in some of the pages?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
More than I would like to admit, I have to say.
Well, look, here's the thing. Our moods are all over the place in this pandemic. In any moment, like you could be experiencing like 4 of them. It's a lot. Okay, next up, sticking with that theme, I'm allowed to say this on TV, badass habits. Cultivate the awareness, boundaries, and daily upgrades you need to make them stick. Ooh, these are good.
Yes. So Jen Sincero nicely points out that even though we think it's really hard to have habits, we have lots of habits we don't think about. We brush our teeth. We put on our clothes. It's not a big deal. So why do we make it such a big deal to change a habit like not eating an entire bag of cookies every night. So she spells it out for us and gives us suggestions. It's self-help, but it includes a lot of her. It's great. It's any habit you want to conquer. It gives you the tips and tricks to do so in a highly relatable way.
Oh, this is fantastic. And then the last book, I don't even know how you do this, culling a book list. Here it is, The Beauty and What Remains. And this is by the rabbi of one of the larger synagogues here in LA.
This book is so beautiful.
Oh.
It's about loss and life. Rabbi Letter includes all of his experiences losing his own father who battled Alzheimer's for many years. It's like a sermon that goes on a while and gives you everything you know about life and death. He talked to so many people on their deathbeds and also has the advice that when you actually are about to die, you don't feel as scared as you might imagine you would when you're perfectly healthy running around. So it helps get rid of your own fear of death, which is pervasive right now for good reason, but also helps you find the meaning of life, which, I mean, in a book, what else could you want? This is beautiful.
Can you pinpoint when you fell in love with books, how old you were?
Ever since I could read. I remember sneaking Charlotte's Web into the bathroom after I was put to bed and crying on the toilet, like lid closed, but in the dark, hiding. I've always loved books. What about you?
Same. I don't know that I definitely stayed up past my bedtime with a flashlight under the covers, for sure. Books have been a great solace. They've been a great comfort, especially this year, to be sure. Zibby has her own book, a new one, coming out February 16th. There's the cover, Moms Don't Have Time to Quarantine Anthology. You can pre-order it right now on Amazon. And of course, we want to point out, and I love this, all proceeds go to COVID research. For more on her great books and her podcast, Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books, go to her website, Zibby Owens, with a Z or a Z for my Canadian friends.com. Zibby, we're going to do this again.
I hope so. This was so fun.
I love talking about books. This is great. And we all need, like I said, an activity. Good to see you. Take care of yourself, darling.
You too.